What's up, y'all? I'm out here at the range, as you can see back behind me. Been out here all day doing some really interesting testing. Hot, humid day out here today. The humidity's picking up and I'm starting to get some black clouds. I hope they bluffing though, because I got one more test I want to get done, and it should be a really interesting 9mm test. So as usual, we got the jelly contraption set up with the chrono and 2 blocks of gel. Now I've done a few tests. Like I say, this far block's pretty full. This front block that we're working with up here, I've only done one test, and it's kept pretty much to this backside, so I should have plenty of room to see what's going on here. These didn't cause a lot of disruption either. I'll actually leave a link up above if y'all want to check that one out. Of course, as standard lately, I'm sticking with my heavy clothing barrier that's got the layer of denim, fleece, and 2 layers of cotton t-shirt material. And what we're checking out on this one is actually something that a few people have requested that I test. I could never find any of it local, so I finally went ahead and ordered a box of it. It's this Federal Syntech Defense. It's the segmented jacketed hollow point. It's a lead projectile, but it's coated with their polymer Syntech coating. Supposed to be really clean burning, supposed to help heat in your barrel and all that good stuff, less fouling. It uses a non-lead primer even, so really clean burning there. Now this is a unique kind of round, should be pretty neat. It's a segmenting round, so it breaks off into 3 pieces, and then you've got a center piece that keeps on trucking. Now the velocity on this is saying 1,050, so it's pretty interesting that they've either got this stuff pre-scored enough or whatever to make it segment at that kind of speed, because we probably won't even see that. Y'all know how it usually goes. And as far as the round there, you can see just brass case, and the projectile there is pretty neat looking. Looks like something out of Willy Wonka's factory, like a blueberry gumdrop or something like that. Something else pretty interesting here on the box, they actually talk about the performance, and it says the core penetrates 12 to 18 inches in bare ballistic gel and through heavy clothing, so we definitely gonna find out today. Now as usual, we're gonna give them a couple different chances to do their thing out here. For the shorty, I've got my EDC here, the Canik Mete MC9 with the 3.1-inch barrel, and then for a longer one, we've got the Glock 17 Gen 4 here with the 4-inch barrel. So this should be a very interesting test. I'm really curious to see how these things do, so let's get this stuff set up and let's check them out. All right, let's see if we can get some speeds on these things, y'all. I'm gonna do a 5-round average from each barrel length. We'll start with the 3-inch MC9 first. I don't think I even mentioned these are 138 grain projectiles. And now as far as this radar, if y'all are new to the channel, you're gonna see multiple readings on it. Your large number is gonna be your muzzle velocity, and then you'll have 5 at the bottom. I've got it set for 3 yards, 7, 10, 25, and 50. So let's see what we can get out of these. The box velocity again was saying 1,050 on these. Got 1,030, 1,032, 1,032 again, and that was a legit reading because the 50 changed. 1,028. And 1,044, and those things were incredibly consistent up until that last one, and it still wasn't far off. Let's check the average. All right, so our 5-round average on that was 1,033, so not quite the 1,050, but that's pretty doggone close. We had an extreme spread of 15 and a standard deviation of 6.1, and that was with that one round that was pretty far out from the rest of them. So it definitely seems like some really consistent stuff. Let me get it reset and let's see what that G17 does. All right, let's see what this 17 does. I don't have any doubt that this is going to hit that 1,050 for sure. Let's see what it actually does get. Got 1,089, 1,095, 1,092, 1,099, and 1,094, so it definitely hit that 1,050 and then some. And again, that seemed very consistent. Let's check out the data. All right, so that time we had a 5-round average of 1,094, an extreme spread of 10, and a standard deviation of 3.8. So very consistent stuff. 1,094 on this, and if you remember on that MC9, it was 1,033. So you're talking about 61 feet per second faster from that G17. I mean, you call that significant if you want. Not quite 10%, what, 6% or so. So not a huge difference. Very curious to see what this stuff's gonna do in the gel. I think it's got the speed that they're looking for to make it act right. So hopefully we'll get some good results. Let me get this set up and y'all know what time it is. All right, y'all, it's Augustus Gloop jelly time. We'll put 1 round from each barrel length into the gel, starting with this MC9 first. Very curious to see what these things do. All right, I think that went exactly where I wanted it. Let's go see what we got. All right, that one right there is actually looking pretty good, y'all. Although we did lose one of the fragments, I figured we might though, I didn't know how far them things would go. And they go pretty far as side to side and distance. So let's see what this G17 can do. Hopefully I can put this thing where you can see everything and not lose all of the fragments anyway. Ah, that went awfully low and down over to the left side of the block. Let me see if we kept enough to check it out. All right, y'all, we actually in good shape with that one there. We did lose one of the segments again, but I don't think there's any way to avoid that unless I put these things right in the center of the block, just because of the spread that these things get. So from what I can see so far, these things don't look too bad at all. On the top here, that's the one out of the 3.5. They both look about the same, honestly, but we'll check this one first. It comes in here, immediate segmenting, fragmentation, whatever you want to call it. I guess segmentation comes in here, segments all three of the pieces. Now you got one right there, one up here at the top, and then one went out the top right here. Then you got that center piece that keeps on trucking, as you can see, into this second block, and that looks like it's about 1.5 inches, 2 inches into that second block. So it looks like it's right at 18 inches. Now what I'm really curious about is the weight of this center piece that's left. And then down at the bottom, again, pretty much the same story. The disruption areas look very, very similar on them. This is the G17. As you can see, it starts segmenting pretty much in about the same place. You got one that goes here, one that goes down there. You can see it below that other one from the other one, and then one went out the side right here. So they all look like they travel almost identical distances inside the gel, and the spread looks about the same from both of them. And then of course the center piece on this one keeps on trucking just like the other one into this second block, and it looks like it might be maybe 1/4 of an inch further than that other one, but they both look almost the same distance. So let's find out how far they did go. We'll start with this one here out of the 3.5 inch, and sure enough, it is exactly 18 inches. I mean exactly 18 inches. And then the one from the G17 is actually 18.5 inches. So it went 1/2 inch further. So almost perfect penetration in my opinion from both of these. Now, as far as these segments, you got them anywhere from, well, let's see, this one right here is 9 1/4. These two right here, you got one at 9 inch, one at 8 3/4, and then this one right here is exactly 9 inch. So it looks like between 8.5 and 9 inches is where all of these segments are going to land. So that's pretty neat that they're that consistent. Here's an overhead look. Again, this one right here is the G17. That one is the MC9. As you can see, I mean, a big old wide area from where these things went out. Like I said, unless you put that thing right in the center, you're bound to lose at least one of them. So one of the segments there, one of them right here, one of them actually down below that, and then again one went out the top there, and then the center piece again kept on trucking, and there it is right there. And then same deal here from the side on that G17. One of the segments is right there. The other one is, yeah, that one down there. Those are real close. And then the other one, like I said, went out the side, and you can see that center piece keeps on trucking, and you can see just how close they are as far as penetration. All right, let's check out these projectiles, y'all. Both of these look exactly the same. The base looks exactly the same, and the two fragments recovered from both of them look exactly the same. I'll show you here. You can see they split the same way, exactly the same. So we'll just look at one of them here. There's your base of it right there, where the fragments actually split off from. So pretty nice looking chunk left there. A little bit bigger size than what it started with, just because of how it spread out like that from getting broken off, the fragments getting broken off. So there's your base there, and then here's your two fragments. As you can see, Pretty decent sized little fragments. I don't know how many grains that would be, probably about 10 or so, I would guess. So got a couple of those there, and then you got the base. So they did exactly what they were supposed to do as far as I can tell, and both of them did it in the exact same way. But let's check out the weight on them and see how this pans out. This is what I'm really curious of. So they started at 138 grains. If you take the center there, that gives you 86.4. If we add one pedal back, that gives us 103. So you're looking at what, about 17 grains there. And then if we add the other one back, we got 120.4. So that gave us what, another 17 grains. So that tells you right there, these fragments are basically 17 grains and the center was 86. Now, if I add one more fragment, just out of curiosity, there you go, that bumps us up to 137.6. So these little fragments are 17 grains each. So that's what we had on that one. I'm guessing this one here is going to be the same out of the G17. So the base on that is 85.6. So we had 85.6 on that and 86 point something on the other one. So the base, what you're left with is basically between 85 and 86 grains, and each one of the segments are basically 17 grains. Now, as far as the size, I'll just use one of them. So the base here, you got 0.42 and 421. So you did get a little bit of size difference just because of how it ripped out and kind of spread itself out. And then on these little pedals, just in case anybody's kind of curious, the thickness of them, if you want to call this the thickness, you got about 169, and the length of them looks to be about 323. So nothing as far as expansion. Obviously, you got a little deformation there, but that's just because they did their thing in a completely different way. And there you have it, y'all, the Federal Syntech 9mm segmented jacketed hollow point. Pretty interesting stuff here. You know, I'm not a big fan of the kind of specialty type rounds, gimmick rounds, if you want to call them gimmick rounds. These right here are a little bit different because of the weight of them. You know, they're 138 grains. They're actually, if you want to call them, heavy for caliber, whereas most of these gimmicky fragmenting type rounds are real light for caliber. And that's my biggest hang up with a lot of those fragmenting rounds, like the Liberty stuff and some of the other ones. They're just so light that the extra piece, that core that keeps on going, there's just not much to it. Whereas this right here, over 80 grains, I mean, that's heavier than some 380 rounds start out as a whole. So a lot better right there. Me personally, I still don't know that I would be sold on something like this. I probably wouldn't have a problem using it if I had these and that's what I had to use, but I don't know that I would purposely go specifically looking for these rounds. All right, y'all, that's gonna do it for what I think was another very interesting 9mm test. I'm a little surprised that these things did so well. They did exactly what they claimed to do. You definitely have to give them that. They did exactly what they claimed to do on the box. They got 18 inches of penetration. They are segmented evenly. All three of the segments spread out almost the exact same distance, almost the exact same width of them. So as far as consistency, these rounds are definitely some nice ones. Now, as far as the way these rounds performed in general, being a segmenting round, that's really personal preference. I know some people absolutely love these segmenting and fragmenting type rounds, but a lot of times the reason I hear people saying they like them is because it limits penetration to under 12 inches sometimes, whereas this stuff right here, you got that segmenting, but you still got 18 inches of penetration. So I don't know how the folks in the over penetration camp would feel about these versus some of the other lighter fragmenting rounds that don't go as far, but me personally, I think that's a plus. I think these segmenting rounds are far better than the lighter for caliber ones that I've tested. But let me know down in the comments what y'all think about the performance from them out here today. If you enjoyed the video, reach down and hit that thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and make sure you've got your notifications turned on so you don't miss anything when I upload it. If you're doing some shopping, like I always remind you, check out those affiliate links in the video description. Anything you buy after going through those links down there, I get a kickback from them toward the channel, so I really do appreciate that. Once again, I appreciate all my Range Gang members and every single one of y'all out there for supporting the channel the way y'all do. I've had a lot of fun out here today and got some really interesting stuff done. Tons more on the way, so be on the lookout for that. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll see you soon.